this time is we're streaming on YouTube
Okay, super.
because I am in Facebook jail. Facebook is mad at me right now.
Oh no. Okay.
So I have to no mute it. So I have to kind of play nice until
They let you
November
out of jail.
12th. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, that's fine. I will continue. I will use YouTube
That's right.
and we will be good there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Good for you for knowing how to do all this techie stuff. I'm
Yeah.
still learning.
I'm trying to pull off something pretty big in the next 2 weeks, and
Oh,
we've got
cool.
we're doing a fundraiser through my work. I work for a TV station, so we're doing a fundraiser for the Children's Miracle Network
Hmm?
on the 7th, and I'm trying to figure out how to make three completely different software programs talk to each other.
Oh,
And it's like I can get two of them, but there's just that third one that just
third
doesn't want to play
yeah.
nice.
Well, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yep. And then we've also got we're working with a radio station out in New Mexico because that's where the rest of my team is. And we're working on some really cool stuff with them. So
Nice. So, do you do this independently then? This is like your independent
yep,
side
yep.
gig or whatever.
For
Yeah.
now,
For
for
now,
now.
that's very neat. Yeah.
Uh,
I like the title Live and Amplify. That's neat.
yeah, it was a I'm always really weird about titling things. Like sometimes it just sounds amazing, and then sometimes it's like I don't know what to call it. Let's call it this. And Live and Amplified was very much one of those things where it's like we have to give it a name, but what do we call it? And then one day I was just like, how about this? And nobody really liked it, but somebody ran with it, and it was just like, all right, I guess that's what our name
It
is.
works. Yeah, it works.
Let me get this posted, and we will be good.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. I tagged your music page, so you should be good there. Share. Share. Okay. Share. Cool. Sweet. All right. And if you're ready, I think we're good to go.
Right. I am ready when you are.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Open this up. Cool. Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a returning special guest. We have Natalie Otto. How's it going today, Natalie?
I'm doing great. How are you, Tom? Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really excited to have you back. And when you reached out to me, has it been a month already since you last reached out?
Probably, I think it has been, yes.
Yeah, because I know
Time's
we were
flying.
originally supposed to do this like 2 weeks ago, and then I had to reschedule. And so we rescheduled it for this week. But I think it's been about a month since you reached out to me and you said you were releasing a Christmas album. And I was really wanted to talk about that because you don't see a lot of or a Christmas EP. And you just don't see a lot of independent musicians doing that. So when you brought that up, I wanted to jump on and talk about it. And yeah, so because
Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. Thanks. So the Christmas EP kind of wasn't really going to happen. But I was in Nashville recording some other songs. And I'd gone back to my hotel room from like a full day of recording, And I was like, okay, let's just decompress a little bit. I picked up my guitar and I was just trying to write some stuff. My producer, Justine Blazer, was like, if we're going to do some Christmas stuff, or if you even are interested, that stuff usually gets recorded in like April and May, because, by the time July and August comes around, you want to have that really recorded in case you're going to try to, submit it for, sync or anything. So we did. I just was tinkering around, and one of my Christmas songs, Six Pack for Christmas, is kind of showing a playful side of me, I guess, because I tend to be a little more serious and thought-provoking in my lyrics. And so this one is just kind of like, I can have a little bit of fun too. So that one is more of like the corny side of me. And then the other one, It's Christmas is Christmas, is the typical standard holiday sound that you want to hear, like, jingle bells, and it's just like the happy uppity up type of feel there. And then I did a cover, Elvis Presley's Blue Christmas.
Okay.
I really love Kelly Clarkson's version, so it's kind of like that, but I have my own spin on it. So
nice.
Awesome. So those 3 songs will be coming out in mid-November, probably around the 18th of November.
Gotcha. Awesome. And so you said you recorded those in Nashville with Justine Blazer?
I did, yes.
It took me, I had her on the podcast, I want to say it was about a month or so ago. And after talking to her, I realized how many musicians that I've had on the podcast and will have on the podcast work with Justine.
Yeah, she's great. She's amazing to work with.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh, okay. And then you started talking about her. I'm like, well, mark off another one,
There's a whole lot of us. Yeah. That's good for her. Good business for her.
Yeah, absolutely. So you record, you'd mentioned that you wanted to, or it was brought up to have it recorded, or the Christmas EP recorded by July.
Yes.
Had you started the recording process before the pandemic hit, or was this kind of like a pandemic project that you were?
No, I did. It was right when things started shutting down. My last time down there was in March, before the pandemic, before everyone took the pause. And that's when I got it all recorded. And so we lucked out in that respect, because I had written this stuff back in January, February, and then came down to get it done in March. And so, yeah.
That's got to be really weird to... So you write it like last season, which makes sense because you're kind of in the mood of Christmas. So you write it then, but then Christmas season kind of ends and you're getting ready for Valentine's Day and like spring, you're getting into that spring mode. And it's like, oh, we got to jump right back into Christmas because this is going to be like a whole 3-4 month process of recording, mixing, mastering, so we could have it submitted to stuff by July, August. And it's like, it's a never ending thing. And
it is a never ending thing. I had to channel my Floridian, I guess, a little bit because, in Florida, it doesn't snow down there. And so I'm thinking like, okay, the one song, Six Pack for Christmas, we took it to that level and kind of threw in like a beachy vibe to it, just to add a little bit of an extra element of twist in it. So yeah, I hope everyone just takes that one lightly, I guess. Just supposed to be a fun song.
Was this something that you always wanted to do, was release a Christmas like EP?
No, it actually just kind of came out organically because when I was down there in January recording, like you said, it was the end of the Christmas season, and I guess I was still riding the tails of that. And it's still cold enough where you kind of still get that chilling feeling. And so I feel like Christmas lyrics are kind of magical anyway when you're thinking about like snow falling and fireplaces warming you up and the whole holiday spirit of it. So that both of those songs actually were written fairly quickly. There needed to be some fine tuning once you get the lyrics down, but for the most part, they just kind of like came out pretty easily.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I lucked out with those too.
Yeah. And so you've been staying completely busy since the last time we had you on the podcast. We had you on during the beginning of the pandemic, right? I'm trying to remember now.
Yes, I want to say it was because we were That's when
promoting.
Destination Hot Mess came out.
Yep, there you go. I was sitting here, I was like, what was she
That's the
promoting?
song. Yeah.
Let me process this. But
Yeah.
you've been staying really busy, I mean, I guess at that point, the Christmas EP was already kind of recorded and probably in the mixing and mastering phase of things. But
Yes.
you also released a new single last Friday, right? Last Friday?
Last week.
Yeah. Called My Day. What's the
Mhm.
story behind that?
Sure. So My Day was written with Randy Barnett from MC1 Zony Orchard and Justine Blazer. And the idea for that one came because I had gone to Justine and had asked her to see kind of like the backside of how a song is produced. I've always gone into the studio and the track's been like pre-done for me. So I just go in and lay my vocals. And I was really, really curious to see, how does this all come together from writing the song to having the musicians come in and, add their magic to it. And then, then I come in and just slap my vocals on. And she's like, well, if you're interested, you're already in town. Why don't we see if we can write a song and get the guys in here that day so you can see them kind of noodle around with it. And then if there's time, then you add your vocals before you leave. And I said, yes, that would be awesome. Let me sign me up for that right away. So we ended up doing all of that within an 8-hour period. And, I didn't feel that any part of that was rushed. It all just kind of unfolded organically. And I just loved the feeling of seeing something from start to finish. And it's something that I had a hand in. And throughout the whole process, whether I was just listening or, making suggestions for lyrics or whatever. So it was an experience that I'll never forget because it was like so fast paced, but it just seemed like every step happened the way it was supposed to happen. I don't think that happens very often, for everything to work out perfectly where you see it.
I bet it happens.
Mesh.
I bet it happens more often in Nashville than you'd think.
Probably. But
It,
being so new, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, to have the right chemistry with people and to get the song done in a couple hours and then to have everyone come in. Now the musicians were like spot on, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
You can't top Nashville musicians. They come in, they do their thing once or twice, and you got to get your out.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, because while you're sitting there telling that story, I was like, oh, this sounds very much like Nashville. This is very Nashville. Like, Nashville is so set up you could literally walk into a studio with no idea for a song. And at the end of an 8-hour day, leave with a mixed mastered song in your hand.
In your hand. Yes. So it was super fun. Like I said, something that I have never experienced like anything else before. So, yeah, I was glad to have a taste of that because like you said, I'm sure, that's how Nashville is, but it was good to see it firsthand. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So for My Day, is that leading to like an EP or an LP, or are you just kind of sticking with the single right now?
I think I'm just sticking with the single right now. I feel like I've been doing a lot of those lately, just trying to get my footing. And, I'm hoping that in 2021 that my collection of all these singles is, maybe going to be, put onto an album. But yeah, not quite sure yet.
Gotcha. And then, so what have you kind of been doing to push yourself throughout this pandemic? Because back when we first talked, the pandemic had just started, so we didn't really know how long this was all going to go on. But how have you kind of been pushing yourself creatively throughout this entire?
I've been taking advantage of a lot of online courses and doing a lot of reading just to kind of like feel some creativity. The courses mainly in like artist development and songwriting, just because I feel like you can never have enough, help with songwriting. There are so many good books out there and so many people that have kind of paved the way before me. So, learning from them is just kind of eye-opening and inspiring in and of itself. So I've been doing a lot of that. And it's been keeping me busy. I feel like I'm thirsting for so much more and I just don't have the time in the day to do everything I want.
because you're also a mother, correct?
Yes, I've got 3 kids, 3 girls. Mhm.
Keeping you busy.
Oh, they
Well,
sure are.
especially right now when, well, I don't know, in Maryland, have schools opened publicly? Like, are they going to school, or are they,
Well, our county in particular, we I guess our county just announced that um, parents can choose whether they're going to stay virtual or go hybrid.
mhm.
And that will begin mid-November is when
Okay.
that's going to start. So whatever you choose to do. Yeah, so for now, the girls have been learning from home, which has been a lot better than I thought it was going to be, that's for sure. But, it's still difficult. I feel like they definitely need to be in a classroom as opposed to seeing someone behind a screen, but it is what it is. Everyone needs to do what's comfortable for them, and we're making it work.
It's so strange to think that we're already halfway through the fall semester of school.
I
It's
know.
like,
I
where,
know.
like, it started off, where did the year go? And now it's just kind of like, no, seriously, where did the year?
That's right. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
one of those things where it's just like, dang, okay. You know,
Yeah.
June
Mm-hmm.
17th, by the way, was when we had you on last.
Oh, was it okay?
I
Yeah.
was sitting here, I was like, that's going to annoy me the rest of this interview. Like, I really want to know. So,
Well,
uh,
2020 can just go away. I would be fine with that. Let's just start fresh.
yeah, like, my thing on that is, we've grown, like, live and amplified in general, just looking at it internally, very selfish. Like, we've grown so much in the 7 months we've been in lockdown, just like from our followers to our interaction to our engagement,
That's great.
just
Congrats.
statistically across the board. And we're doing things that I never thought we'd do. I never thought we'd be doing podcasts through the internet. Like, that was cardinal sin number one in my book, because, like, originally for the podcast, it was, no, we've got to do it face to face, in person, or there's no point in having the conversation. And then we got put into lockdown, and it was like, I got to
You've
do
adapted.
something. I got to do something, because we can't sit here for possibly 3 months, 6 months, 9 months and not do anything, or we're going to die. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way we're going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And so then we started doing the podcast. Or, well, I mean, we'd been doing the podcast, but somebody told me about Zoom. It's like, hey, try it. I tried it. I was like, okay, cool.
Here you are. Yeah. It's
We're in it.
going all right.
Yeah. So, so yeah, like, I don't want to say let's erase 2020, but let's get through it as quickly as possible.
Well, we're almost there, man. I mean, I can't believe November's just around the corner. And then once you hit that holiday season, it's like, there's
Yep.
January.
Yep. It's just like, click, click. You got this,
Yeah.
this, every starting probably mid November, you've got parties. And, well, this year, I don't know how it's going to go, but, you know,
Yeah, I bet those will probably
yeah.
not be happening as much.
But what I do like about working remotely, though, right now, is that I could pretty much work from anywhere. And I think starting, like, we really start to slow down into the second week of December, and then we're pretty much dead until like the middle of January. So I'm thinking about going and visiting my parents, because they'll be down in the Florida Keys for winter.
Nice, yeah.
And it's like, hey, I know you guys are like staying on your boat, but do you have room for one more? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, might give it a try. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you totally should. Now, in Texas, does it get super cold? Well, I guess you said in the 30s at night, but does it snow or?
It does. I'm trying to remember last year. I don't think if it does snow, it doesn't snow that bad, or it's not like,
Memorable, yeah.
yeah, it's not really measurable. But then again, when I was living in New Mexico, which we're kind of on the same parallel as where I was in New Mexico, there were a couple of times where we'd just get a freak snowstorm,
Mm.
or like they called it a once in a lifetime storm, but it's not once in a lifetime when it happens every year for 3 years straight. It's not once
Yeah.
in a lifetime. Um, so I have a feeling we have the ability to get snow, but it doesn't always happen, especially, and it's one of those things where it'll still, like, even during the winter, midday, like say mid-January, by noon it's probably 50 degrees. Like, it doesn't ever really get like that
That
cold.
cold. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Yeah.
It's like, that's why I moved here and didn't go back to Chicago.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Chicago can go somewhere during the winter.
Brutal. Brutal.
Really, really is. So, once again, thank you for jumping on the podcast. What's kind of your plan? Are you already working towards your next body of work, or are you just kind of writing? Where are you kind of at creatively right now?
Yeah, that. So I've taken a pause with production for a little bit because I feel like I did quite a lump sum from the last time you and I
Yeah.
chatted.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a pause to kind of hone in on my craft and think outside the box and really have a chat with myself again and write from experiences that I've had, which is what I feel like I do anyway. So it's more or less I'm taking a pause from production, working on my artistry and educating myself on songwriting and I'm actually trying to collaborate more too. I guess I should add that in there too. Co-writing is something that I would really like to start doing more of, since I tend to write a lot by myself, which could be because of the pandemic, or could be just because I haven't found my crew yet. So trying to work on that. So I think that's what I'm going to be working on for the next few months, and then hopefully once the holiday season is over, then I'll be able to pick back up and right where I left off and introduce some more songs for everyone.
Yeah, that's always the weird part, is when you release, like right now you're kind of releasing music, your next body of work is going to be in the middle of November.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just kind of like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Because we're at the middle of the holiday season, in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? And it's like, unless you have the ability to kind of record yourself, you're kind of stuck. But
Yeah.
you mentioned trying to find kind of your tribe and your creative community. Is that something that you don't ultimately see doing in Maryland, or do you kind of see yourself migrating more towards Nashville? Like, where do you kind of see?
I feel like I'm open to wherever. I'm a member of NSAI, so I feel like, you can connect with people from all over the place using that avenue. And I just feel like I haven't found that yet, and my groove in that yet, and it's available to me. I just need to, you know, be vulnerable, I guess, and just put myself out there. So, I feel like that's me holding myself back because, not knowing how to enter those waters very well. So, yeah, I'm open to it. I feel like, a lot of good things come out of co-writing. Sometimes two brains are better than one.
Yeah.
So.
You just gave me an idea. I have to figure out how to go about it, though.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad.
Huh. It's live and amplified co-writing sessions. I just don't know
Ooh.
how to go, like, setting up something like this and then just bringing in 4 or 5 musicians and say, here.
And hashing it out. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be
I
really fun.
just don't know how to make it because I'm all about organization and structure.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I know, like, a co-write probably is very little organization and structure.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gave me an idea.
Take the holiday season to think about that, Tom, and maybe in 2021 that could be your new baby.
I'm thinking before the holiday season. Like, I like to move quickly, but
There you go. Yeah, you're very motivated.
yeah,
I love it. Love it.
I'm gonna have to write that one down. I'm not gonna forget it, but
Good
But
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel like this comes at a good time though, because I feel like most people do take a break, around December, January, and then, they might be writing over that time, but not necessarily releasing a ton of stuff. So hopefully I'm following in line with, what the industry is doing. So I'm not one of those people that you don't hear from for months and they're like, what happened to her? But that's my plan, is to, work on the craft, get some songs written, and then start producing them again in early 2021. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So as when you sit down to write, are you very much able to, like, okay, I'm tonight from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever, are you able to actually settle yourself in like that, or are you more spontaneous? Like, what's kind of your writing process?
Sure. It's interesting because I'm a type A personality. I like structure and I like schedule and I like all that. But I feel like with my songwriting, if I'm too rigid like that, then I can't, like, my creative mind just like shuts down. So while I have to, the interesting thing about all of this and what I'm trying to get at is that I do have to schedule when I'm going to do it, because I am a mom first and foremost. I got to make sure my kids are taken care of. But I feel like during that time, if I'm not feeling it, then I'll go and do something else. Or if I'm like really into it and I'm only saying I'm going to spend a couple hours and I end up going over that, then fine, then that's whatever. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit of both, I feel like, for that. Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of balance music and mommy duties? How do you balance?
Well, I feel like music recently has definitely taken a back seat, which, shame on me. But it's just kind of fitting it in early in the morning, because I am a morning person. I like to get up before everyone's awake and have my coffee and go do my workout or whatever. And usually at night I'll get my second wind when they're all in bed and it's quiet and no one's calling my name, and I can finally think. So I just do it whenever I can squeeze it in.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
not,
kind of
there's never really like, okay, this time or this time. Although I will say usually in the evening is when I'm doing stuff.
the evening when you have to be quiet and not to
Yeah,
wake
and I
up.
can't play my guitar. No, although I still do, because I'm off in like a little corner of the house and they can't really hear me. So that's nice. But
Yeah, that's always nice and convenient when they can't hear you. So,
yes.
actually, we've had you on here twice, and I'm kind of surprised the kids haven't ever come barging into the.
I locked my door. I'm like, okay, you're not coming into my little area.
It's like, mommy.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. My husband's pretty good. He was very stern with them earlier, saying, okay, your mother's getting on a call. Shh.
nice. That's always good. And
Yeah.
then, so what do you kind of do for yourself? What are some of your hobbies away from music, and like, what do you do to kind of?
I like to exercise. I I got into like a Pilates hit fusion type
Mhm.
class. I will say I've never ever been one to be able to do, those at home videos. I've always had to like go to a gym and take a class, because for me, I just felt like I got so much more out of it. But at one point, whenever our area completely shut down, like the gyms weren't even open, and so I had to, like, for my mental health, if I don't exercise, 3 or 4 times a week, I'm just like, oh, me, mommy, like, you don't want to be around me. So I had to kind of get into it, and I found like a series that I really really like. So I've been kind of doing that on my own, and I'm impressed with myself that I've kept with it, because like I said, I'm usually not good to do those things by myself at home, but I don't have a choice. So we put our gym membership on hold until some of the stuff clears
Yeah.
out a little bit. Yeah.
I've actually started getting into yoga myself.
Nice.
Not so much for like the peace of mind aspect of it, but just more for like the stretching and
Yes.
flexibility aspect.
Yes.
But I do find I'm still trying to find like that right time to do it,
Mhm.
because if I get up in the morning, I'm still so stiff and like just, the
Not doing
morning,
it. Yeah.
yeah, not
Yeah.
doing it. And it takes me like 20 minutes just to get warmed up. And by then the video or whatever I watch is done. And it's like, oh, now I'm feeling good, but I don't have time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then at the evening, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't really, so I don't know. I have to kind of figure out when the
The
best
right
time.
time of day. Yeah, that is challenging for sure. For sure. I've also been reading some, I should say a lot more than I've been able to in the past, just because we are home, and it's amazing, what you can do with your time at home.
Yeah.
So,
I've
yeah.
been running through. There was a couple of articles that I found on Google that say, um, that are basically, it's a top 10 list of 10 books that every musician should read.
Nice.
And so I've
What are
just
those?
I'll have to pull it up for
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like depending on which one you click on, like sometimes it's more classically trained music, or it just kind of depends. But some of them are like, there are a couple of autobiographies,
Oh, neat.
kind of like for the business aspect of it, so it just kind of depends. But I've been trying to go through those, and so I can, um, put myself in the mindset of a musician, even though I don't play music, couldn't carry a note, couldn't do it even if I wanted to, but just kind of putting myself in that mindset.
In the mentality. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
good.
so
Nice.
um, and considering that I don't read at all, it's been really weird. Like, I don't read. I don't never been into it. Like when I was in grade school, and it was like, okay, you got a book report due tomorrow. Have
Yeah.
you read the book? What book?
Because that's forced reading. That's forced reading.
Yeah,
This is for like entertainment and stuff that you're interested in. So maybe
yeah,
there's the difference. Yeah.
yeah, probably. But but
Good for you. That's awesome.
yeah. So I'm really excited about it. Like, just I still don't read like a whole lot. Like, I got friends that'll sit down and they'll run through like half a book in the matter of a couple of hours, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, after an hour, just finishing chapter two. Okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So, has Maryland started opening up shows at all, or are they not? Or is everything still pretty much closed?
Out, well, like 50% capacity type thing. There's still a lot of outside shows that are happening. I've been to, actually, my old guitar instructor was performing around town, and so I would go to support him, and he's been out. But it's outdoor, mostly outdoor. I don't know of anything inside that's happening, and if it is, it's probably at like 50%, type
Yeah.
thing. So it's happening, but not
Yeah.
happening.
I got a notification for a show that was happening today, but it was more like a benefit concert for like a family friend that the musician was going to support. And I was like, I've only been in Texas for a year. I've specifically never seen this musician play, and I want to go see her play. But it's for like one of her family friends. It's like a benefit show. And it's like, I don't know, like, I'm sure they'd welcome me, but it would just be really weird. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just here to see her play for an hour. I had a feeling that would be weird, and so I ended up not going. And I was
Yeah.
just, it's just one of those things where it's like, I going through like, yeah, just going to a fundraiser just to see the musician, that seemed a little self-serving. So, but it is what it is. And
Yes.
here in Texas, they're starting to do a lot more shows. Every weekend they release, they'll put up on one of the Waco, Texas music group pages like a list of all the local shows that are happening, and that
Oh,
list
good.
is growing every week. Like, I don't know if they're inside shows, outside shows, but given that it is going to be November in a week,
Yeah.
the majority inside shows. So, but yeah,
I hope things start happening here soon. I mean, I miss live music.
yeah, oh yeah, it, yeah. I just don't know. Like, I'd go to shows. I would have went to shows throughout the entire pandemic, but that's just me personally, and I understand that not everybody's going to do that, and
Sure.
there's no need to put on shows because I want shows. You know, I'm not that selfish, but I like you. I just want shows to come back to full
Yes.
capacity, and big venue, small venue doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah. So I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you probably got little kids that are beating down the door and all that fun stuff.
This was a
Well,
nice break. Thanks for having me on again. It was good to
ab-
chat with you again.
absolutely. And as always, whenever you have new music coming out, let us know when 2021 rolls around and you got a better idea for all that new music. Let me know
I
and
will. Thank you.
have you back on.
All right.
Um,
Well, take care, Tom. It's great to see you.
yep, you as well. And thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later.